Hi! Live from my mom's basement, we're Comic Comrades. I'm Dan.
And I'm Callan.
And we're here to talk to you about comics. And stuff. But mostly comics.
That's the point of the show.
Yeah. So without much further ado, we're just going to get right into it.
You don't have to yell.
Yes, I do.
You do?
I do.
Okay.
Otherwise, they don't realize the intensity.
The intenseness.
Yeah, exactly. If action movies have taught me anything, yell like 90% of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, that's what makes it intense.
Exactly. Well, it's an evolutionary thing. It's to assert our dominance. Okay? So, without much further ado, I'm going to just get right into it with an individual review. Today, we're going to focus pretty much entirely on Marvel.
Right.
And we want to talk about what's going on with Marvel, what's new with Marvel. Neither of us are really initially huge Marvel fans, but we got some cool stuff today that we want to talk to you about.
I'm a Marvel fan.
Yeah, but you read more DC and Image.
More Vertigo.
Yeah.
Marvel. Let's do this.
Marvel. So, our first review for today is Magneto, #1. This is a series that was recommended to us by our friends down at Red Skull Comics on Edmonton Trail in Calgary, Alberta. If you live in Calgary, go check these guys out. Great shop, great people. So let's talk about Magneto. Magneto, as you guys may have figured out by now, I love comics that focus on the villain. Magneto is a classic X-Men villain, and this is a really cool story. I really enjoyed this. It's about Magneto traveling around the country, basically executing a vigilante style of revenge.
My God.
Yeah.
That's intense.
Yeah, I know, right? And it is just utterly metal. It's awesome.
He's the king of metal.
I know, right? He's the king of metal, so of course this is going to be metal. Great violence, great story. If there's only one thing that I could really critique it on, maybe the framing's a little bit just kind of classic, nothing too innovative there, but it also flows really nicely, which is what you want. A really cool series, really enjoyed it, highly recommend it, check it out. 2 thumbs up for this.
Are you going to buy the next one?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, 110%.
Now is this like early Magneto?
No, actually that's a really good point. I'm glad you brought that up.
Thank you.
This is actually older Magneto. So we're not talking about Magneto at the beginning of his career as a supervillain. This is Magneto right when he's in the thick of it, or, kind of older and later on.
Yeah.
And the basic premise of the story is that there are these crazy humanoid-looking robotic killing machines that are programmed to go around the country murdering mutants, innocent mutants.
They always do that. They always build these machines that are programmed to go kill mutants.
I know.
Like, would people be cool with that right now? Like if we just invented robots to go massacre a certain type of person, what?
We got that.
Drones?
Yeah, drones.
Oh, yeah.
We do that. That's a thing we do now, which is still not cool. But anyways, yeah.
God damn it.
I know. These guys, they just go around causing horrible destruction, and it's Magneto's job, or his self-appointed task, to go around and avenge these poor innocent mutants that are getting killed. And I applaud him. 110%. You go, Magneto. You execute horrible, vicious judgment.
Yeah. A lot of ways Magneto's kind of been that anti-hero to a lot of people, like, Spawn or Batman even.
Yeah, actually, and the thing I like about Magneto, and I think we were discussing this last night, is that in terms of a character, he's a villain, but he's a villain who you respect.
And you can see where he came from.
Yeah.
Where he comes from. I mean,
yeah.
I think any person in his position would be equally as pissed off.
Yeah, no, he's got totally legitimate reasons for doing what he's doing, and he follows a code. Like, he's not a total dick, but he has a line. He has a shit line that you do not cross.
Yeah.
And I respect that. 100%.
Do you have a shit line?
Only when I leave streaks in the toilet. Yeah, too much information.
Don't want to cross those.
No, you don't.
We're talking about Marvel today,
Yeah.
and I don't know what they're doing with their covers these days. They're next comic we're going to talk about is Moon Knight.
Yeah,
you can see their covers here. It's almost like their issues of previews or something.
Yeah,
it's really shoddy. Like these comics don't look collectible at all. They look like they're an ad. Like it looks like a Marvel ad. And and that's what the cover looks like. I don't like what Marvel's doing with these covers.
You don't like the covers?
No, I think that the barcode should be on the back. I think that the cover should be the cover of the comic. But there's all this Marvel advertising. Like I get it. I'm buying a Marvel comic.
Yeah.
Okay, like I understand that. You don't need to treat me like a child and be like, this is Marvel, by the way.
Well, I don't know. There's a certain amount of particularly mass-produced comics
where
you have to slap your brand name over that.
Sure, but that's what they're doing is they're making this look really mass-produced. And I know it is mass-produced, but I kind of enjoy the bumpy covers or the shiny covers that the collectible things. These just look really cheap. What Marvel's doing, I think they're really making their comics look really cheap.
Yeah, honestly, it doesn't really. The cover, I'm not going to look too much into it. I think bringing up Moon Knight, it's a good time for us to get into our tag team.
Yeah, we're going to tag team this comic.
We're both going to tag team Moon Knight. This is an interesting comic. And I think we're going to have an interesting discussion around it. Written by Warren Ellis. Warren Ellis has done a ton of work for Marvel, done some very cool stuff.
And some really shoddy things.
And some stuff. Artist is Declan Shalvey. Color art by Jordi Belair. And Chris Iliopoulos is the letterer.
Iliopoulos?
Yes.
I like that name.
I do too. I'm impressed I didn't mess that up off the bat, right?
That's a winner. It really flows off your tongue, even though it looks like a math equation when you're reading it.
Yeah, it does. But I want to mention the artist in here because I have to say one of the things that really sticks out for me about this comic is the artwork. I really, really enjoyed the artwork, particularly around the character. And we're going to have some screens here that we're going to show you guys. But what I like about it, particularly this frame, is that our character almost looks like he's taken directly out of the artist's sketch pad and superimposed in this scene. And for whatever reason, I really enjoy that style. It's different for me. I haven't seen a lot of that around. It's a little edgy. It's a little gritty. I like it.
Yeah, I think the art really complements the grittiness of this comic and this character in particular.
Yeah.
And he also makes things look realistic, like not super inhuman with bending arms and gigantic muscles and stuff. It's really realistic, but very artistic at the same time.
Yeah. He has a really nice eye for detail. I think the artist, from what I can see, is really good at drawing human anatomy and the way movement should look. It seems pretty realistic to me for that. Just before we get further into this, Callan, maybe you want to summarize for our viewers out there what Moon Knight is about, who this guy is.
Man, I don't know that much about Moon Knight. I've always loved Moon Knight as a character because he looks super badass, and when I see him hanging out with the Avengers or whoever, he's always kind of got funny snide comments. People are always calling him crazy, and none of the superheroes really take him seriously, it seems.
No.
They're kind of scared of him. I've always liked the character, and I've always been meaning to get into the series, but I always get sidetracked by something else.
Yeah.
So this is more Moon Knight than I'm used to, but the comic summarizes it pretty well, kind of what he is. He's a what was he? Was he ex-military? Is that what it was?
He's a mercenary. He was
a mercenary. Yeah,
he was a bit of a ruthless mercenary, and he became possessed by the spirit of an Egyptian god or demigod, and got all these crazy abilities, but it also kind of fractured his psyche a bit.
Which I think is would make sense. I think if I was taken over by some kind of ancient deity, it'd probably fuck me a little bit.
Yeah, totally. That mess with you hardcore.
You wouldn't just go to bed at night and be like, yeah. No.
Well, and the thing I enjoy about this character is that, we're talking about, like, how mentally healthy is this guy? Like, how crazy is he? I mean, he's a bit of a wild card, right?
He is. He's a wild card in the Marvel universe, and it definitely shows in this comic.
Yeah. Now, when we were talking about this last night, when we were kind of having our prep conversation for the show, Callan, you brought up a pretty interesting criticism of this comic, and I was wondering if maybe you could share that with our viewers.
Can you get your secretary to just answer that?
Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
What was the question you just asked me? Oh, the criticism I had.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the comic, Moon Knight kind of waltzes onto the scene of a crime. There was a murder, in this dark alley, and I don't know what city exactly they're in, but
I think they're in New York.
Is it New York?
I think it's New York. Yeah.
So Spider-Man would be up in that business.
Spider-Man, Punisher, Daredevil, they're all off.
They're all in New York, hey?
Yeah, they're all, for some reason, they're all...
That place is bumping.
It's a big city.
I would not be a criminal in that city.
No, not in the Marvel universe. That would suck. Would totally suck.
Yeah, and then my criticism was he waltzes onto this crime scene, and he's kind of been disbanded as a superhero. It seems that he's actually being hunted by the police force. He killed
Shield.
a guy. And Shield. He did some very superhero-y things, and people are kind of, he's frowned upon. So he's not really showing himself anymore. So he waltzes onto this scene under the vise of Mr. Knight. He's no longer Moon Knight. He's Mr. Knight. Yeah. But I mean, it's so obvious he's Moon Knight. He's wearing a mask with the Moon Knight sign on it. Anyway, the police officers are like, hey, that's Moon Knight. He's got a warrant out for his arrest. We should arrest him. And the main detective guy is like, no, that's Mr. Knight. Shut your mouths. That's Mr. Knight, and that's who he is. And he's obviously hiding something. And the cops are like, all right, fine, whatever. And detective's like, he's a concerned citizen. That's who he is. He's a concerned citizen. So, how are you doing, Mr. Knight? Here's what we have. Yeah. And if I was a concerned citizen and I wanted to walk onto a homicide scene, they wouldn't let me. No. There's strict rules about, murder scenes and crime scenes, and not just any guy can just walk onto it, no matter what you're wearing. Yeah. Even if you're deemed a concerned citizen, you're not allowed to go and go into crime scenes. It's just very unrealistic, and everything after that point, to me, was I just couldn't get my mind off the fact that the cops just let this guy walk onto a murder scene, just take over some Joe Blow nobody. It's just like, what's going on here? Yeah. I don't know. I guess for me, I kind of overlooked that because to me, it looked like the cops were letting in a gentleman to do the job they couldn't do. Like they go hunt down this psychopathic killer. Perhaps that could have been explained better or explored more, or the relationship between the detective controlling the scene and Moon Knight. That maybe we could have gotten into that, like, hey, why is this guy so chill with it? But yeah, I mean, that is a serious logical inconsistency. It just seems like they're ignoring, the process, the judicial process, or like the mandate, that you need to adhere to, and just letting this guy who's a known criminal just come over and do whatever he wants at the crime scene. And this is one of my main problems I have with Marvel a lot of the times is, and I know, there's superheroes and it's comics and it's, obviously you can't believe, everything can't be totally realistic. Otherwise, the comics would be boring as hell. But just little things like that. Like I need to see some realism. I need to see my superheroes interact with my regular citizens on a basis that is realistic, that would happen in real life. And that's what draws me into really loving a comic and believing it.
Well, and more than anything, I think it's about the consistency of the character with the piece. Like, we have this really gritty artwork. We have this character who is edgy, he's dark, he's conflicted, he's got literally multiple facets or multiple faces. But, you know, his relations with the other characters in his world are actually fairly one-dimensional. And that kind of just doesn't jive right. For one, I'm interested in this. I'm interested in the character. I enjoyed the action scenes. I'm curious to see where this is going to go. You know, I've got enough Warren Ellis stuff in my collection.
Yeah, Warren Ellis, like, just, come on, man. Let someone else do something. Well, I don't know. He's pretty good.
He's pretty good. He's pretty good. I enjoy Warren Ellis.
But, I mean, I know. I looked at my collection, too, and I'm just like, this is a fucking Warren Ellis library.
I know. He's a prolific writer.
He is.
He really is.
He will be remembered.
Yeah, he will. Curious to see where this will go. I'll probably pick up the next issue.
Yeah,
but
I would too. It's not terrible.
It's not terrible.
It's a good comic.
It's a good comic, but you know, especially if this Declan Shalvey individual. I hope I'm saying your name right, bro. I probably am not. But if he continues to draw this series, I'm very curious to see it.
Yeah, this is super badass. Like, that would be the cover of my metal album, you know?
Yeah, like, this guy, he makes it for me as the artist. Really.
Yeah, he's great. Yeah, this comic wouldn't be the same. His paneling is super impressive, too. Really creative.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. You know, maybe in a couple weeks or a couple episodes, we'll update you guys and let you know what we think of issue number 2.
We should probably do an update episode every once in a while.
Yeah.
Because we review so many issue number 1s. It'd be good to kind of catch up on what's going on with those series.
And give us your feedback. Let us know what comics you want to hear updates about. We've already got some ideas for future reviews that we've heard. And thank you. So just let us know what you think in terms of what you want to hear updates about. I think that's Moon Knight for us.
That's Moon Knight. I'm going to do an individual review now. I read Marvel's Ms. Marvel, which is, I guess, a new character they're going to bring out.
Yeah.
Unless she's, like, been alive before and then died and then come back and then died and then born in an alien body and then...
Now, doesn't DC have a Mr. Marvel? Or,
Yeah.
who's basically, like, kind of like the exact same as Superman, but not?
Yeah.
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 Sorry, I got sidetracked.
Well, Shazam.
Shazam.
Yeah,
Thank
but
you.
he's got the lightning bolt, which, yeah, looks...
exactly
like
the same.
Captain Marvel's, and now we have this Miss Marvel.
Who has a lightning bolt.
Yeah. This comic, anyway, which we're talking about, was wicked. It's
really
super modern, like the way... Who is she here? See, they've confused me. Like, normally I go to the second page to read who wrote the comic and who, you know, the inside cover, who wrote it, who the artist was, all that stuff. But now it's just commercials, and I can never find where they write the information on the creators of the actual issue. Oh, here we are. G. Willow Wilson?
Yeah.
I don't know. I always suck at this part. Sorry.
So anyway, tell us, what'd you like about it? Like, what's so awesome about Ms. Marvel?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything particularly super awesome about the character.
Okay.
Just the way that it was written, and the artist walk hand in hand through a forest of daisies, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful symmetry.
So the writing and the art is like really syncs
Yeah,
up
I almost thought at one point that the artist and the writer were like the same person. I was like, is this a full creator project? This is just awesome. The thing I liked about it is that it's super realistic. The character is in her early teens. She's going to high school. She's dealing with all that bullshit. I would never go back to high school.
I frequently have nightmares where I'm back in high school, and it's awful.
She kind of has this tradition. She's an Indian girl, and she lives with her family, who's kind of like a traditional Muslim family.
Okay.
Or maybe it's Islamic, I don't know.
Yeah.
But she's dealing with all those issues.
Yeah.
High school issues. I like this boy, that boy likes me issues. It's very angsty. It's really high school. It's very like 80s almost in that kind of sense. But the way it was written is so realistic. Like, she writes the dialogue like people actually speak in real life.
Which is difficult to do.
Yeah.
That's really difficult to do.
Yeah, you can't... And it's great. She writes like that. The drawing matches it. The story, it's funny. It's really funny. It's really enjoyable. This is what you want in a comic, is just something really enjoyable to read. It's lighthearted. It's youthful. It's also edgy, for sure. It's very down to earth. I don't really know what's happening. I think this girl is going to become the next Ms. Marvel. I mean, but it doesn't really... It alludes to a lot of things, but it doesn't actually tell you what's going to happen. It kind of leaves you with a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Which is nice. I'm going to buy the next one for sure. I'm super into this comic. It's so enjoyable to read. But I'm going to look at this writer and find out what else she did and check that other stuff out. Like, she's just super realistic, super fun, and she's really connected to what she's putting on paper, what she's writing. She's really passionate about it. You can tell. There's no fraud here.
Nice.
I have nothing negative to say about this comic.
Great.
The cover's wicked. The artwork was amazing.
I was going to comment, I like how the cover is on graph paper and shows you the actual design of the character.
Yeah, well, a couple different designs even.
Yeah.
You know,
that's neat.
Yeah, it's really...
I enjoy that.
I wish I could say who the writer was. But I guess if she's watching, you know who you are. And there's probably like super elitist comic book people out there just shaking their heads at me right now. But, I'm just a regular guy. G. Willow Wilson.
Nice.
And the art was by Adrian Alfona.
Nice.
You guys did a great job. I'm going to buy the next one. Super into it.
Cool.
Ms. Marvel, issue number 1.
Cool. So, now I think it's time for our classic corner.
Yeah, it is.
Now, I mean, some of you... This came out a little while ago, so not necessarily classic, but definitely... part of my collection that I enjoy. I own many iterations of this series.
Why is it a classic to you again?
I'm going to get into that.
I'm just going to shut up then.
So we're going to talk about X-Men Noir, which, if you will bear with me here, is done by... This is written by Fred Van Lente, art by Dennis Calero, letters by Blambots and Nate Picos. Great job, guys. And I'll tell you why this is a classic to me. I love film noir. I love the artwork of it, and I love the way they have meshed sort of 1940s style film noir with the X-Men comics.
Great idea.
Terrific idea. I mean, as many of us know, X-Men universe and the Marvel universe in general has gone through like a jillion different interpretations and different viewings, but this one, it stands out to me. And part of the reason it stands out to me is in the artwork. And also the way it looks at characters. Like, look at this portrait of Wolverine here, which I will hold up to the camera, but we'll also get a shot for you guys. And just terrific.
It's almost drawn as if it was really in the 1940s. Like,
yeah.
Really captures that essence.
Yeah, or like it was shot like a film noir movie. And just terrific. If you guys haven't read it, in particular, the first trade in this series, which covers issues 1 through 4, is just fantastic and a totally enjoyable read. I won't tell you too much about the story at all because, quite frankly, I don't want to ruin it for you because it's a great mystery, great to read, lots of fun. This and its follow-up sequel, the Mark of Cain, X-Men Noir, Mark of Cain, both wonderful books, but in particular X-Men Noir, terrific. This book has seen tons of praise. Can't say enough good things about it. Definitely check it out. If you don't have it already, add it to your collection.
It's always fun to see some of our favorite characters portrayed in times that they're kind of out of place in.
Yeah, or see how certain character features can be transported into different roles. Like, for example, how Magneto becomes a corrupt cop in this.
Hey,
and the head of
ruin it
cops.
for me.
Well, you find that out like in the first bit.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, no, is like it just mashes really well. Or how you have Logan as a bit of a rogue, or as a smuggler.
Logan as a rogue.
I know, right? Who would have thought, right? And of course, you have Cyclops as goody two shoes. But, yeah, but totally great. Check it out. Definitely, if you haven't read it before, get it. Solid buy.
Solid buy.
Solid buy.
Last part of the show, we call this Shame on You.
Shame on you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to let you get to this in a second, but I just want to say it wouldn't be a Marvel-themed episode if we didn't take some time to shit on DC a little bit. And with that, I'm going to let you just shit all over this.
Now, I thought it was going to be hard to find a DC comic to just shit all over. And I was happy to find out through our informant, who is to
remain nameless.
Yeah,
to protect his identity.
He gave me this comic, and I was like, no way. Particularly, so anyway, this is Catwoman, Deep Beneath Gotham's Underground.
As if the Catwoman character hasn't been a part of enough just terrible shit. But I'm sorry, go on.
Because he gave me this comic, and he's like, this is just garbage. And I said, thanks, I'll buy that. Because I looked through it, and the art was pretty sweet, man. This guy draws super badass.
What's the boob situation like?
We got some pretty serious boob situation. Not much cleavage. Catwoman tends to zip up her leather onesie all the way up to her neck this whole comic. Which is fine.
Okay.
There's a lot of her bending over in suggestive positions. There's a lot of her... I'm pretty sure Buddy just bought an issue of Playboy and just kind of mimicked, the different spreads in there. Put Catwoman clothes on and threw it in this comic. But that's what you expect from a Catwoman comic. And I'm not going to criticize it, because for those of you who are super into Catwoman, that's why you're into that character. I'm sorry, but
you're not in this for the story.
Anyway, no, you're not into it for the story, and I wasn't expecting a great story. And a lot of times I don't really care if the story is super that good. If it's delivered well, and it's enjoyable, then fucking A.
Yeah.
Anyway, the art was great. The paneling's awesome. This guy's obviously professionally works for DC. He does a great job. The art's great. Now, where this comic just fucking falls to pieces is the writer. And
who's the writer? Who did this to us?
Ann Nocenti, or Nocenti, probably Nocenti.
Yeah.
I don't know how the fuck you got a job at DC. You must have sucked something. Or maybe you're just hot and they just want someone hot around the office. I don't know. But shame on you, DC, for letting this girl do this. I mean, maybe she has potential. I don't see much potential as a writer here.
No.
It's just, where to begin? It's really contrived to begin with. She's almost writing with a really snooty attitude.
Yeah.
It's a narrative, it's narrating, it's Catwoman in her head, thinking. So maybe that's where some of the snootiness comes from. It's Catwoman. She's snooty.
She's upper class.
She's upper class. She's lower class. She's no class, but she's got big boobs. So
Yeah.
And that'd be cool, but she doesn't pull it off. It's almost like this comic book is mocking you as you read it. It's hard to read, and then when you get to the actual dialogue, it doesn't make any sense. Like, the way these people are talking to one another in this comic is nonsensical. It's almost as though they have invented this machine that just spits out comic scripts. You just type in Catwoman goes deep beneath underground, this is the enemy, the script needs to go here, and then the machine just goes it assesses comic book statistics and all these things or maybe they had a room of monkeys writing this comic. You know, it's like, you know how they had those romance novels?
Yeah.
And they had, like, actual, like, computer programs writing these romance novels?
Wait, that's a thing?
That's a real thing.
No, I'm not surprised.
They're just shitting these things out because they're complete garbage. And what people want in a romance novel is, you know, fuck, I don't even know, but...
steaminess.
You don't need creativity to write it.
No.
A machine can fucking write it, and people will buy it. And that's what this comic book comes out as. It's... she has no skills. She has no class. She has no... It just doesn't make any sense. Like it makes sense, but
it's uninspired.
It's completely uninspired. It's just like she doesn't understand comic books. Like, I don't think she's ever. She must have written other comics. I don't know. Our informant said, "Oh yeah, this writer just pisses me off. So read this." And then there's these action scenes where, in between Catwoman kicking some guy in the face and then putting her foot down, which lasts maybe a quarter of a second or 1 second. Kick in the face and put your foot down. She's had a 3-paragraph dialogue with this guy in one kick. It's just like, so
it doesn't
how
make
fast
sense.
Are you speaking? Yeah, it's just like.
It almost sounds like the dialogue in this is like maybe like you remember The Sims, and you remember like the gibberish dialogue of the people talking to each other in The Sims that was kind of like there to mimic human speech patterns.
Right.
It sounds like this is like maybe just like
that's what I'm saying.
It's
Something
like a
that.
level above this.
Or like
right?
when you play video games, the dialogue is so badly acted out or scripted. It's like a bad It's like Sylvester Stallone writing, you know, the screenplays for his movies in the 80s.
Except for Rocky. Rocky's awesome.
I don't think he wrote the screenplay, did he?
He wrote the screenplay for Rocky.
Well, he must have, you know, been high or something.
You can't fuck with Rocky.
No, Rocky was good. I'm talking more particularly about perhaps Cobra, if you've seen that movie. It's got some really good one-liners. You're a bad shot. I don't like bad shots. It's a good movie. I don't deal with psychos. I just put them away. Anyway, I mean, this story has potential. The art's great. The bad guy is pretty sweet, Dr. Phosphorus. It's really like classic comic. It's very...
Yeah.
It's got potential. It's stupid. It's a stupid comic, but it's got potential. You could enjoy it. But the girl who wrote this is just...
She fucked it up.
She fucked it up, and I'm almost angry at DC for not seeing it.
Yeah. Or not giving a shit enough.
I think maybe they just don't give a shit.
Yeah.
They have so many comics on the line.
Yeah.
They're like, just get it a giant corporation who doesn't give a shit.
Well,
about
no, maybe this was like a throwaway, they have their projects that are good that people like, and then this was like you'll probably break even. Get it out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And maybe they were giving her a chance. I don't know, but from our informant, he was saying that she's probably done a lot of stuff.
Well,
and what it sounded like.
And you know what we may do later on is, Ann Nesenti, we may check out some other your work. We may give you a chance to redeem yourself.
Yeah.
This is only one project.
If you guys know of any Ann Nesenti work that's good, let us know. Maybe she, had pneumonia when she was writing this. And she just,
or malaria, and her brain was swollen, and she was all kinds of fucked up. But
yeah, it's just completely unbelievable. It makes no sense. There's no connection from the dialogue to the comic. You might as well just buy it and look at Catwoman, walk around in sexually suggestive positions, and but I mean.
And let's be fair, that's every Catwoman comic.
Yeah,
ever.
I'm sure you can find a better Catwoman comic.
Everything is so.
Shame on you, DC specifically, and Nesenti. Come on, man. Try a little bit harder than that.
Yeah. That's terrible. So, for the end of our show, last week we were talking about who would win in a fight.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, and we're talking about a hand-to-hand fight between Marv from Sin City and Judge Dredd. And I've been thinking about this since our last episode, and I gotta say, Judge Dredd, without his gun, gonna get his ass kicked by Marv. Because Marv is basically invincible. Essentially. And while I think Judge Dredd give him a good run for his money, just size and speed-wise. Marv is just he's a fucking freight train, man.
Marv is a freight train, and he is completely stupid.
He's except when it comes to killing people.
Well, yeah. Well, fuck, anyone can kill someone.
Yeah, but he's a wrecking ball, dude.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm just saying that his sheer stupidity in a combat setting has done him pretty well.
Yeah,
and it's that craziness and that stupidity that will allow you to be like, oh, I'm gonna make a makeshift flamethrower and just kick out this front door and just go running through a giant squadron of riot police and then jump off the 10-story stairs to maybe land on another set of stairs somewhere at the bottom and possibly survive.
But just go buck wild.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be a great fight. I think Marv... I don't know if Marv would kick his ass.
I think he would.
He would, but, I think that Marv can take more hits. I think Judge Dredd would, give him a good run for his money. Yeah. But Marv would just grab his arm and break it.
Yeah. I picture this going down as it ending with Marv ripping Judge Dredd's arm off and beating him to death with his own limb.
Yeah. Yeah, you could just go full red-fueled rage.
Just savage brutality.
Yeah.
Savage brutality.
Yeah, so we're going to go with Marv on that one.
Marv on that one. I got our next matchup for next week that I want you guys to think about. Joker versus Punisher. Little Marvel versus DC action. Think about it. And we look forward to talking to you then.
Yeah, we're going to try to have a guest on next show. And do we have anything else about next show? Are we going to do a DC episode? Or
I think DC episodes in the future, but I think we'll have to wait and see what we're going to do.
Yeah.
All right?
All right.
All right, y'all. Thanks again. Hope you enjoyed the show.
I don't.